Have you ever suspected that the solid world around you is just a fraction of what's truly real? It's a quiet feeling, isn't it? A subtle hum beneath the noise of daily life. A sense that the rules you were taught about the world don't fully explain your own experience. You see patterns, you feel connections, you have moments of profound intuition that logic can't dismiss. Yet you're told to ignore them. This isn't confusion. It's the stirring of a deeper memory, a recognition that the reality we can measure and weigh is perhaps only a shadow of something far more vast. Today, we're going to look at something unexpected, a document once hidden away from an organization built on secrets and facts. We'll explore what government researchers discovered when they tried to map the very fabric of reality and consciousness in a report on what they called the Gateway Process. This isn't about spies or secrets. It's about what happens when a powerful institution turns its gaze inward and how their findings echo the timeless wisdom of ancient traditions. If this feeling of a deeper reality resonates with you, share a thought in the comments below. This space is a sanctuary for these quiet conversations, a place to explore the questions that society often tells us to put aside. And if you wish to continue this journey with us, subscribe so you don't miss these explorations into the inner world. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato once described our existence through a powerful allegory. He said we are like prisoners in a cave, chained and able to see only the wall in front of us. Behind us, a fire casts shadows on that wall, and we mistake these flickering images for the whole of reality. This isn't just an old story. It's a profound insight into the human condition. It reminds us that what we perceive through our limited senses may not be the truth, but merely a projection of it. The search for what lies beyond those shadows is the very essence of our conversation today. So let's step closer to that fire and begin to understand the nature of these shadows and the light that casts them. Let's begin by addressing the room's most unusual presence. The fact that we are sitting here, you and I, about to discuss the nature of reality through the lens of a declassified government document. It feels strange, doesn't it? We are accustomed to seeking wisdom in ancient scriptures, in the words of enlightened masters, or in the quiet solitude of our own hearts. We are not used to finding it in numbered paragraphs and technical analyses written by military intelligence officers. And yet, perhaps this is the most important lesson to begin with. The universe does not limit where it leaves its clues. Truth does not belong to any single tradition, any single book, or any single type of person. Sometimes, the most profound signposts are found in the most sterile and unexpected of places. Think of it not as a doctrine, but as a confession. A confession from one of the most rigorously logical and materialistic organizations on Earth that there is a world beyond the physical. A world they took so seriously, they invested time, resources, and intellect to map it. This isn't about validating the document itself as some ultimate gospel. It is about recognizing the significance of its existence. It's like finding a detailed journal from a lifelong, hardened skeptic, where he meticulously documents his conversations with an angel. The power isn't just in what he wrote. It's in the fact that he is the one who wrote it. It tells you that he saw something so undeniable that it forced him to abandon a lifetime of certainty. We often fall into the trap of believing that wisdom wears certain clothes. It must look spiritual. It must sound ancient. It must come from someone with a peaceful smile and a calm demeanor. But truth is a wildflower. It grows in the cracks of concrete sidewalks as readily as it does in a pristine, cultivated garden. The fact that this exploration of consciousness comes to us wrapped in government bureaucracy is a beautiful reminder that the search for meaning is a fundamental human endeavor, one that sprouts in even the most unlikely soil. So, as we move forward, let us release the need for the messenger to look the part. Let us simply listen to the message itself and feel if it resonates with that quiet, knowing place within you. Have you ever received a piece of profound advice from someone you least expected? A child, a stranger on a bus, a character in a simple movie? The universe spoke to you through them. Today, for our purposes, it is speaking to us through this report. It's simply another voice in a grand cosmic choir, and its part is worth listening to, precisely because it is so unexpected. This brings us to the very foundation of the report's findings, and indeed, the foundation of reality itself. It is a concept so simple it is almost impossible to grasp, yet it is echoed in every ancient tradition known to humanity. The concept is this: everything is vibration. Everything. The chair you are sitting on, the light from your screen, the air you are breathing, the thoughts moving through your mind right now. They are not truly solid. They are fields of energy vibrating at different speeds, at different frequencies. This is not just mystical poetry. It is the bedrock of our modern understanding of the universe. The physicists of your world have peered into the heart of matter and found no stuff there. They found only energy, dancing in specific patterns. Think of a fan with several blades. When it is still, you can see each blade clearly. They are separate, distinct. But turn the fan on, and as the blades begin to move faster and faster, they blur into a single, transparent disk. You can no longer see the individual blades. You only see the pattern of their motion. Has the solid stuff of the blades vanished? No. Their frequency has just changed, and so your perception of them has changed. This is our world. We are living inside an infinitely complex symphony of frequencies. What we call solid matter are simply the frequencies that are slow enough, dense enough, for our five senses to perceive and label as real. They are the bass notes of the universal song, deep, slow, and tangible. But just because you can only feel the bass thumping in your chest doesn't mean the higher, subtler melodies aren't there. They are. The air around you is filled with them. The ancient mystics called this vibration Om or Aum. They understood that the creative force of the universe was a sound, a hum, a frequency from which all things manifested. The Gateway document, in its own technical language, arrives at the very same conclusion. It states that reality is a gigantic, holographically organized energy field. We are not separate beings walking through a dead, empty world. We are vibrating patterns of energy existing within a vast, living ocean of energy. We have forgotten this. Our modern world teaches us to trust only what we can touch and measure. It tells us the world is made of things, of separate objects. We learn to see ourselves as a thing, separate from other people, separate from the world around us. This is the great illusion. It is the source of so much of our loneliness and fear. We feel like a single, silent note in a vast, empty concert hall. But the truth is, you are never silent. Your very existence is a vibration. Your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body, they are all constantly emitting a frequency. This is not a metaphor. You know this instinctively. Have you ever walked into a room right after an argument has occurred? The people may be silent, but you can feel the tension in the air. That feeling is your own consciousness perceiving the dense, chaotic frequency left behind by the anger. Conversely, you can walk into a sacred temple or a quiet forest and feel a sense of peace wash over you. You are tuning into the high, coherent frequency of that place. We talk about good vibes and bad vibes for a reason. We are perceiving the frequencies of people and places, even if we don't have the words to explain it. Take a moment, right now, and just feel. Feel the vibration of your own being. Underneath the thoughts, underneath the worries, can you sense a subtle field of energy? That is you. That is the note you are playing in the universal symphony. And the first step toward changing your reality is to become aware of the note you are playing. So, if everything is frequency, and our consciousness is also a frequency, how do we begin to consciously change it? How do we learn to tune our own instrument? This is the central, practical question the Gateway document set out to answer. And its proposed solution was a technique its researchers studied and named HemiSync. The name sounds technical, but the concept is beautifully simple. It stands for hemispheric synchronization. It is the process of getting the two halves of your brain, the left and the right, to vibrate in harmony at the same frequency. Think of your brain as a magnificent two-part orchestra. Your left hemisphere is the string and percussion section. It is logical, analytical, and orderly. It understands time, past, present, future. It loves language, numbers, and sequences. It is the part of you that makes plans, remembers names, and reads these words. It is the architect of your physical world experience. It is essential for survival. Your right hemisphere is the wind and brass section. It is creative, intuitive, and holistic. It does not understand time. For the right brain, there is only the eternal now. It thinks in pictures, feelings, and patterns. It is the source of your imagination, your empathy, your sense of connection to something larger than yourself. It is the artist, the dreamer, the mystic within you. In most of our lives, especially in the modern Western world, the left brain is the conductor, and it runs the entire show. The logical, analytical mind is constantly active, from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall into an exhausted sleep. It is chattering, planning, worrying, judging. The right brain, the intuitive and timeless part, is often drowned out. We have an orchestra where the percussion section is playing so loudly and erratically that the beautiful, soaring melody of the horns is completely lost. The result of this imbalance is the state most of us live in, a state of inner conflict and noise. We feel disconnected, anxious, and unable to access our own deeper wisdom. We try to solve our problems by thinking harder, analyzing more, running faster, by turning the volume of the left brain up even louder. But this only creates more dissonance. Hemisync and similar techniques like binaural beats or deep meditation is a process of telling the conductor, the left brain, to be quiet for a moment. It works by playing a slightly different frequency in each ear. For example, you might hear a tone of 100 Hz in your left ear and 107 Hz in your right. Your brain, in its attempt to make sense of this, creates a third internal phantom tone that is the difference between the two. In this case, 7 Hz. This 7 Hz frequency corresponds to a deep alpha or theta brainwave state, the state associated with deep meditation, creativity, and intuition. But something else, far more profound, happens. In order to create this phantom tone, the two hemispheres of the brain are forced to communicate and synchronize. They have to start working together, vibrating in harmony. The strings and the horns begin to play the same sheet of music. The result is a state of profound inner quiet and coherence. This is what the researchers called the gateway experience, a state of whole brain consciousness where new perceptions and new realities become available to you. This is not a new idea. For thousands of years, mystics and monks have used other methods to achieve the same end. The rhythmic chanting of a mantra, the focused gaze on a candle flame, the specific breathing patterns of pranayama. These are all ancient technologies for silencing the analytical mind and awakening the intuitive mind, for creating harmony between the two halves of the brain. The Gateway document simply stumbled upon a modern, technological shortcut to this timeless state of being. Think about moments in your own life where you have felt truly in the flow. It might have been while playing a sport, creating art, walking in nature, or being lost in a piece of music. In those moments, what happened to your inner chatter? It disappeared. Your sense of time likely dissolved. You were not thinking, you were simply being. You were acting from a place of pure intuition. In those moments, without knowing it, you achieved hemispheric synchronization. You tuned your own instrument. The Gateway process is simply a methodical way of learning to access that state on command. To move from being a passive listener of your own inner noise to becoming the conscious composer of your own inner harmony. This leads us to a crucial law of the universe that the Gateway document describes, a principle that is fundamental to understanding how we create our own reality. It is the principle of resonance. In its simplest terms, like attracts like. Or to be more precise, a vibrating field of energy will attract and be attracted to other fields that are vibrating at a similar or harmonious frequency. This isn't a magical belief. It's a property of physics. If you have two finely tuned guitars in the same room and you pluck the G string on one, the G string on the other guitar across the room will begin to vibrate as well. It has caught the frequency. It is resonating with it. The human consciousness field works in exactly the same way. The frequency you consistently hold in your being, the dominant vibration of your thoughts and emotions, acts like that first plucked guitar string. It sends a signal out into the vast holographic energy field of the universe, and the universe, like the second guitar, must respond by vibrating with you. What does this mean in a practical sense? It means that the reality you experience on the outside is a direct mirror, a direct resonance of your internal state. The universe is not punishing or rewarding you. It is simply and impersonally matching your frequency. If your dominant, habitual inner state is one of fear, anxiety, and scarcity, there's never enough. Something bad is going to happen. I'm not safe. Your consciousness is emitting a low, chaotic frequency. By the law of resonance, you will attract and perceive experiences that match this vibration. You will notice all the reasons to be scared. You will find evidence of scarcity everywhere. You will experience interactions with people that confirm your belief that the world is unsafe. It's not that positive experiences aren't available. It's that you are not tuned to their frequency. You are listening to the station of fear, so all you can hear is the news of fear. Conversely, if you can cultivate a dominant inner state of gratitude, trust, and love, I have all that I need, the universe supports me, I am connected. You are emitting a high, coherent frequency. You are plucking a different string. By the same impersonal law of resonance, you will begin to attract and perceive experiences that match this new vibration. You will notice synchronicities. You will meet people who are open and kind. You will see evidence of abundance and beauty all around you. The world hasn't changed. You have changed. You have retuned your receiver. This is perhaps the most difficult truth for the logical mind to accept, because it feels like we are victims of circumstance. It seems like the world happens to us, and we then react emotionally. I am angry because that person cut me off in traffic. I am sad because I lost my job. We see the external event as the cause and our internal feeling as the effect. But the deeper knowledge, the knowledge shared by both the mystics and, strangely, this military document, is that the chain of causation is often the other way around. Our habitual dominant internal state is the cause, and the events that resonate with it are the effect. The person who is chronically angry lives in a frequency of anger and will constantly find reasons to be angry. The person who lives in a frequency of peace can navigate the same world and experience tranquility. This is not about blaming yourself for your struggles. It is absolutely not. It is about gently empowering yourself with a new understanding. You are not a helpless cork bobbing in the ocean of life. You are a broadcasting tower. And while you cannot always control the first thought that pops into your head, or the first wave of emotion that washes over you, you can learn to choose which signal you will continue to broadcast. You can learn to acknowledge the fear, and then consciously choose to pluck the string of gratitude. You can notice the anger, and then intentionally breathe and find a moment of peace. This is the great work. It is the retuning of the self. Look back on your life not with judgment, but with curiosity. Can you see this principle at play? Can you see how periods of deep inner turmoil seem to attract more chaos, and how moments of inner peace seem to open up a world that flowed with more ease? You were simply experiencing the immutable law of resonance. So, what is the purpose of all this? Why tune the brain? Why cultivate a certain frequency? According to the gateway process, it is to open a door in your perception. The purpose is to allow your consciousness to begin perceiving the vast ocean of information that exists beyond the tiny, filtered trickle provided by your 5 physical senses. Imagine that the whole of reality is an immense library, containing all knowledge, all time, past, present, and future, all possibilities. Your 5 senses, in their normal, untuned state, are like a librarian who only allows you to read a single tattered children's book over and over again. It's a useful book. It teaches you the basics of how to survive in the physical room you're in. But it is an infinitesimally small fraction of what is contained in the library. You don't even know the other books exist. We are taught to believe that this one book is all there is. If you can't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell it, it isn't real. This is the materialistic creed. We have been trained for generations to invalidate our own deeper experiences. That sudden flash of intuition you had, that feeling that you knew a friend was going to call just before the phone rang, that dream that felt more real than waking life, that profound sense of connection you felt in nature. What did you do with these experiences? Most of us dismiss them. We call them coincidence, a fluke, a trick of the mind. We do this because we don't have a category for them in our worldview. It's like the librarian snatching a page from a different book that blew onto your table and saying, "Don't look at that. It doesn't belong here." The gateway experience, the state achieved through frequency, resonance, and whole brain thinking, is the act of quietly standing up, walking past the librarian, and entering the stacks of the library for yourself. It is the expansion of perception. It's not about leaving the body or escaping reality. It is about experiencing a more complete version of reality. The document suggests that when your consciousness is tuned to a high, coherent frequency, it can begin to access information from the universal energy field directly, without the mediation of the five senses. This is the source of all psychic phenomena, intuition, and creative genius. It is simply a matter of tuning. Think of the electromagnetic spectrum. Your eyes can only perceive a tiny sliver of it, called visible light. You cannot see the radio waves that are carrying countless conversations through the room you're in right now. You cannot see the microwaves, the infrared, the ultraviolet rays. Does the fact that you cannot see them mean they are not real? Of course not. They are simply vibrating at frequencies beyond the range of your biological sensors. To perceive them, you need a different instrument. A radio receiver, an infrared camera. Your consciousness is that other instrument. When it is properly tuned, it can begin to perceive the frequencies of reality that are invisible to your eyes and inaudible to your ears. It can pick up on the radio waves of thought and intention. It can sense the infrared of emotional fields. It can access information not because it travels from point A to point B in space, but because in the holographic universe, all information is available everywhere, all at once. You simply need to resonate with the specific piece of information you wish to access. Have you ever had a moment where you just knew the answer to a problem, but you couldn't explain how you got there? The answer just arrived, fully formed in your mind. This was not a random event. This was a moment of gateway. Your consciousness, for a brief second, tuned to the frequency of the solution that already existed in the universal field. This is the aha moment of the scientist, the flash of inspiration for the artist. It is not something they created from nothing. It is something they received because they had unconsciously tuned themselves to the right station. The work of a conscious spiritual path is to learn how to do this intentionally, to become a deliberate navigator of the infinite library. rather than someone who just occasionally stumbles upon a brilliant page by accident. As we learn to harmonize our own inner world, to tune the instrument of our brain and broadcast a coherent frequency, we approach a distinct threshold. The Gateway Report gives this threshold a simple, almost technical name. It calls it clicking out. This phrase may sound clinical, but it describes one of the most profound shifts in awareness a human being can experience. Clicking out is the moment when your consciousness consciously disengages its primary focus from the stream of information coming from your 5 physical senses, and instead tunes its focus to the information coming from the universal energy field. It is not sleep, it is not death. It is a deliberate transfer of your point of view. Imagine you are sitting in a dark room, watching a vibrant, loud, and utterly engrossing film. The story has your complete attention. You feel the hero's joy. You tense up during the suspense. For all intents and purposes, you are in the world of the film. The feeling of the chair beneath you has faded. The temperature of the room is no longer noticed. Your awareness of your physical body is secondary to the reality being projected on the screen. Now, imagine you slowly, deliberately, decide to become aware of the room again. You begin to feel the chair. You hear the faint hum of the projector behind you. You see the edges of the screen and the darkness of the theater around it. You have not left the theater, but you have shifted your focus from the illusion on the screen to the environment in which the illusion is taking place. You have clicked out of the movie. This is a gentle analogy for a profound process. Our physical reality, with its constant stream of sensory data, is the movie. Our consciousness is the audience member. For our entire lives, we are trained to keep our focus locked on the screen. The gateway process, through its techniques of frequency tuning, is a method for realizing that you are in a theater and that you can, at will, shift your attention away from the screen and perceive the greater reality that contains it. We have a deep, instinctual fear of this process. We believe that our consciousness is a product of our brain, that it is a fragile flame burning inside the skull. We think that if we let go of our focus on the physical world, the flame will go out. We will cease to be. This is the great fear that keeps us chained to the screen. But the mystics and the gateway model propose something entirely different and far more beautiful. They suggest that the brain does not create consciousness. The brain is a receiver, an antenna. It is an exquisitely complex biological instrument that tunes into a field of consciousness that is non-local, that exists everywhere, that is fundamental to the universe itself. You are not the flame in the machine. You are the infinite field of awareness that for a time has chosen to experience reality through the lens of this particular human machine. Clicking out is not about extinguishing the flame. It is about realizing you are the electricity that powers every possible flame. You do this every single night. When you fall into a deep, vivid dream, where are you? You have a body, you can see and hear, you have experiences, you feel emotions. And yet, your physical body is lying still in a bed. You have, without any fear or effort, clicked out of physical reality and into a different stream of consciousness. Dreaming is our natural nightly training for this capacity. It is the universe's gentle reminder that you are not your body. You are the consciousness that uses a body. The gateway process seeks to make this shift a conscious and navigable one, moving it from an involuntary nightly occurrence to a deliberate daytime exploration. Once a person begins to detach from the river of physical sensation, they make a startling discovery about one of the most fundamental structures of our lives: time. In our ordinary state of awareness, time feels absolute. It is a relentless, forward-moving river that carries us from a fixed past through a fleeting present toward an unknown future. We are trapped in its current. This perception of time is the source of so much of our human suffering. We are haunted by regret for a past we cannot change, and we are consumed by anxiety for a future we cannot control. But from the perspective of the gateway experience, this linear flow is revealed to be a profound illusion, a product of our limited, physically focused consciousness. The report explains that once awareness is tuned to the universal hologram, it can access information from the past, present, and future with equal ease, because in the hologram, all time exists simultaneously. Think of a long, ancient scroll filled with an epic story. Our normal way of experiencing time is like reading that scroll one word at a time, with a tiny lamp that only illuminates that single word. We have no idea what the next word will be, and the previous words are already fading back into darkness. This is linear time. It creates suspense and drama, but also ignorance and fear. Now, imagine you are able to stand up, step back from the table, and see the entire scroll unrolled before you, from beginning to end, all at once. You can see the first word and the last word in the same glance. You can see the intricate patterns, the recurring themes, the way the beginning connects to the end. This is the perception of time from a state of expanded awareness. You have not erased the story, but you have stepped out of its linear progression. The gateway model suggests that the universe itself is like this unrolled scroll. The past has not vanished. The future is not unwritten. They are all patterns of energy that exist as part of the total, eternal now of the universal hologram. Our consciousness, moving through the hologram and experiencing it sequentially through our physical senses, creates the illusion of flow, the illusion of a past that is gone and a future that is yet to come. This is a concept that turns our world upside down, but it is not without its echoes in your own experience. Think about a powerful memory from your childhood. When you truly bring it to mind, you don't just remember it as a dry fact. You re-experience it. You can feel the warmth of the sun. You can smell the grass. You can feel the joy or the sadness in your chest right now. The past is not dead and gone. It is a vibrational pattern that still exists, and your consciousness can tune into it and bring it into the present moment. Similarly, have you ever had a powerful moment of intuition about the future? A sudden, unshakable knowing that something was going to happen. This is not just a lucky guess. It is a moment where your consciousness, for a brief instant, jumped ahead on the scroll and perceived a pattern that had not yet entered your linear experience. To let go of the belief in linear time is to be liberated. It does not mean you become passive. It means you are freed from the burdens of regret and anxiety. If the past is not a fixed monument of mistakes, but simply a frequency pattern you can learn from, You are no longer its prisoner. If the future is not a terrifying void, but a field of infinite potential, you are no longer its victim. You realize that the only point of power you have is the present moment, the eternal now. And from this now, by changing your frequency, you can change which parts of the scroll you choose to illuminate. This leads us to the very heart of the gateway model, the concept that makes all of this possible. It is the idea that the universe is structured as a hologram. This is perhaps the most challenging and transformative idea in the entire document, and it mirrors the deepest insights of many mystical traditions and the cutting edge of theoretical physics. What is a hologram? We think of it as a three-dimensional image, a ghost-like projection in space. But the principle behind it is what matters. The principle of a hologram is this: every single part of it, no matter how small, contains the information of the whole. If you take a traditional photograph of a flower and cut it in half, you are left with two halves of a flower. But if you take a holographic plate that contains the image of a flower and you break it in two, something miraculous happens. When you shine a laser through either half, you do not get half a flower. You get the entire flower, just with a little less resolution. If you break it into 100 tiny pieces, every single piece will still project the image of the whole flower. The part contains the whole. Now, expand this principle to the scale of the cosmos. The universe is a hologram. This means that you are not a tiny, separate piece of a vast, disconnected universe. You are a small fragment that contains the informational pattern of the entire thing. The entire universe is enfolded within you. The totality of all that is, every star, every galaxy, every thought, every life that has ever been lived, is present as a latent pattern of information within the field of your own consciousness. This is the meaning behind the most sacred and repeated phrases in human spirituality. When the Hermetic texts say, "as above, so below," this is what they mean. The pattern of the macrocosm is contained within the microcosm. When the Christian mystics say, "the kingdom of heaven is within you," they are not speaking metaphorically. They are describing a holographic reality. When the Vedic sages speak of the Atman, the individual soul, being identical to Brahman, the universal spirit, they are expressing this very same principle. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. This idea shatters our most fundamental sense of identity. We live our lives feeling small, limited, and separate. We feel like a single, fragile ego locked inside a bag of skin. We look out at the vastness of space and feel insignificant. The holographic principle turns this completely on its head. It suggests that the most effective way to understand the universe is not to build bigger telescopes to look outward, but to cultivate a deeper stillness to look inward. Because it's all right there. The entire library is encoded in a single book. Take a moment and just let yourself feel the weight and wonder of this. Sit with the thought. The entire universe is contained within me. How does that change your perspective on your problems? How does it change your sense of limitation, your feeling of loneliness? It doesn't inflate the ego. It dissolves it. The ego is the belief that you are the separate fragment. The holographic truth is that you are the whole, experiencing itself through the unique vantage point of that fragment. There is nothing to prove, nothing to gain, because you already contain everything. The journey is not one of acquisition, but of remembrance. It is the process of learning to illuminate the wholeness that has been within you all along. If we follow this journey of consciousness inward, past the physical senses, past the illusion of time, through the understanding of our holographic nature, where do we arrive? What is the ultimate source? The Gateway document gives it a name that is at once simple and immense: the Absolute. The Absolute is the final, irreducible ground of all being. It is the state that exists before and beyond the hologram itself. It is pure consciousness, infinite and unmoving. It is the void from which all things emerge and to which all things return. It is a state of perfect stillness and infinite potential. To understand this, let us return to the analogy of the ocean. The entire manifest universe, all the galaxies, stars, planets, mountains, rivers, you, me, our thoughts, our feelings, our stories, these are like the waves on the surface of the ocean. The waves are in constant motion. They rise. They take on a unique form for a moment. They travel. They crash upon the shore, and they recede back into the great body of water. They are beautiful, dynamic, and temporary expressions of the ocean. We, in our normal state of awareness, identify with the wave. We think, I am this wave. I am John. I am Jane. This is my story, my body, my life. We become deeply attached to the specific form and motion of our wave. And because all waves must eventually crash, we live in a state of profound terror of our own dissolution. We call this terror the fear of death. The Absolute is the ocean itself. It is the vast, silent, deep water beneath all the waves. The ocean is not affected by the turmoil on the surface. It is eternally still, eternally present. The waves are not separate from the ocean. They are the ocean, expressing itself in a temporary, dynamic form. A wave is just something the ocean is doing for a little while. The final stage of the Gateway journey, the ultimate realization, is to shift your identity from the wave to the ocean. It is the profound, experiential knowing that your individual personality, your ego, your life story, is a beautiful but fleeting pattern on the surface. Your true nature, your deepest identity, is the silent, eternal, infinite consciousness of the Absolute itself. You are not the wave that is destined to crash. You are the ocean that is simply having the experience of being a wave. In this realization, the fear of death vanishes, because you understand that nothing real can ever be threatened. The form of the wave disappears, but the water is eternal. Your personality may dissolve, but your consciousness, which is the consciousness of the Absolute, is unborn and undying. This is the state that the mystics call nirvana, samadhi, or fana. It is a state of oneness, where the boundary between the self and the universe dissolves, because the self is recognized as an illusion. You don't become God. You realize you were never anything else. Think of moments in your life of profound peace and awe. Standing before a majestic mountain range, witnessing a breathtaking sunset, feeling a love for another person so deep that your sense of self melts away, or the deep silence that can arise in meditation. In those moments, what happened to your ego? It became quiet. The chattering I that narrates your life went silent. For a moment, you merged with the experience. That feeling, That sublime peace is a taste of the absolute. It is a memory of your true home. The Gateway document, in its methodical, military way, is simply providing a map that points back to that home, confirming the timeless truth that your true identity is not the fleeting wave of your life, but the eternal ocean of being itself. As we venture into these deeper waters of consciousness, it becomes essential to understand the vessel in which we are traveling. That vessel is our own awareness, and it is shaped, colored, and sometimes limited by one of the most powerful forces in our lives: our belief. The Gateway document itself acknowledges this. It notes that the experiences an individual has in an altered state are often filtered through the matrix of their own expectations and belief systems. Think of your belief system as a pair of colored glasses that you wear constantly. If the lenses are tinted blue, every single thing you look at will appear to have a shade of blue. You look at a white wall, and you see a blue wall. You look at a yellow sun, and you see a green sun. After a while of wearing these glasses, you would forget you have them on entirely. You would simply believe that the world is blue. You would argue with anyone who tried to tell you the wall was white, because your direct, perceptual evidence would prove them wrong. Our core beliefs about reality, about ourselves, and about what is possible are exactly like these glasses. We are not born with them. They are given to us by our culture, our family, our education, and our own past experiences. We form beliefs like, I am not worthy of love, life is a struggle, money is the root of all evil, or only what I can see is real. And once these beliefs are in place, they become the invisible lens through which we perceive the world. We have a tendency to think that our beliefs are the logical result of our experiences. We think, I believe life is a struggle because I have had many struggles. But the holographic principle and the law of resonance suggest it is often the other way around. The belief that life is a struggle is the colored lens, the frequency we broadcast, which then attunes us to experiences of struggle and filters out experiences of ease and flow. We are constantly creating a self-reinforcing reality loop, where our beliefs create our experiences, and our experiences then prove that our beliefs are true. The Gateway states, and all deep spiritual paths, are not about destroying your beliefs. They are about becoming aware that you are wearing glasses. The work is to simply, gently take them off for a moment. To ask yourself, what if this wasn't true? What if, just for a moment, I chose to believe that I am worthy of love? What would the world look like then? When you enter an expanded state of consciousness, the power of belief becomes magnified. If you enter with the deep-seated fear of demons, you are likely to filter the raw energy of the universal field into forms that match that fear. If you enter with a belief in angels, you may perceive that same energy as angelic guides. The universe, in its infinite compassion, will often present itself to you in a form that you can understand and accept. But the ultimate goal is to move beyond all forms, to take off the glasses completely and see the pure white light of reality itself. So, I ask you to look gently at your own life. What are the core beliefs that frame your world? The beliefs about your own capabilities, about other people, about the world at large. Do not judge them. Do not fight them. Simply notice them. Acknowledge them as the lenses you have been looking through. The simple act of noticing is the first and most powerful step toward liberation. You cannot take off glasses you don't know you are wearing. This brings us to a crucial distinction for anyone on a path of seeking. It is the difference between information and knowing, between the map and the territory. In our modern world, we are drowning in information. We have access to every book, every lecture, every documentary. We can collect facts and theories about spirituality, consciousness, and the universe endlessly. But it is vital to understand that collecting information is not the same as the journey itself. You can read 10,000 books about the ocean. You can study the chemical composition of salt water, the migratory patterns of whales, the physics of wave mechanics, and the geological formations of the sea floor. You could become the world's leading academic expert on the ocean. You could have all the information, but you will never, ever know the ocean until you walk to the shore, feel the spray on your face, and take the first step into the water. You have to feel its cold embrace, the power of its currents, the surrender of floating in its vastness. One single moment of that direct embodied experience is a form of knowing that all the books in the world cannot provide. The Gateway document, this video, the words I am speaking to you now, this is all just a map. It is a finger pointing at the moon. It is not the moon itself. There is a great danger on the spiritual path of becoming a collector of maps. We watch another video, we read another book. We learn a new term like holographic universe or the absolute, and we file it away in our minds. We think the accumulation of this data is progress. We mistake the finger for the moon. True transformation does not happen in the mind. It happens in the core of your being. It is not an intellectual understanding, but a cellular shift. You can understand the concept that we are all one for 50 years, and it can remain a sterile philosophical idea. But you can have a single 5-second experience where you look into the eyes of another person and feel that oneness, and it will change the entire course of your life. That is the difference between information and knowing. So, as you listen to these ideas, I invite you to do something more than just listen. Let them be a catalyst. When I speak of frequency, don't just think about the concept. Pause. Breathe. Try to feel the frequency of your own being right now. When I speak of the absolute, don't just try to grasp it with your intellect. See if you can touch that place of deep stillness that already exists within you, underneath all the mental noise. The path is not about becoming smarter. It is about becoming quieter, so you can hear the wisdom that is already there. It is not about adding more to yourself. It is about letting go of what obscures the truth you already are. Do not be content to be a tourist who just looks at pictures of the ocean. Be the brave soul who dares to get wet. The knowing is in the water. In this exploration of consciousness, a common misunderstanding often arises. Many begin to see the physical body as a limitation, a prison for the soul, a dense and troublesome machine that we must escape from in order to be free. This has been a thread in many spiritual traditions, leading to paths of extreme asceticism and denial of the physical. But the Gateway model, and a more integrated understanding of spirituality, reveals a deeper truth. The body is not a prison to be escaped, but a precious anchor to be honored. Think of a mighty lightning rod on top of a tall building. Its purpose is to draw the vast, formless, and powerful energy of a lightning strike out of the sky and channel it safely and productively into the earth. Without that ground connection, the energy would be chaotic, destructive, and useless. The lightning rod does not trap the lightning. It gives it purpose and expression in the physical realm. Your physical body is that lightning rod. Your consciousness, as it expands and begins to connect with the higher frequencies and vaster information of the universal field, is the lightning. To have profound spiritual experiences without being grounded in your body is to risk becoming unmoored, disconnected, and unable to function. The goal is not to float away into the cosmos, but to draw the wisdom and energy of the cosmos into your physical, daily life. The ultimate purpose of the human experience is embodiment. It is the grand project of bringing spirit fully into matter. We are not here to reject the world. We are here to transform it by first transforming our own inner state. And that transformation is anchored through the body. The breath is the rhythm that connects your inner and outer worlds. The sensations in your hands and feet are the points of contact between your awareness and the physical plane. To be deeply present in your body is not a distraction from the spiritual path. It is the foundation of it. Many who seek to escape the body do so because they are in pain. They have found the physical world to be a place of suffering, and they see dematerialization as the only way out. But true mastery lies not in escaping the world, but in learning to change your frequency so that the world you experience changes with it. It is about learning to inhabit your body with such a presence and love that it ceases to be a source of pain and becomes a finely tuned instrument of perception and joy. So, take a moment to feel your body. Feel the weight of it, the life that hums within it. Feel the air entering your lungs, nourishing every cell. Send a wave of gratitude to this incredible biological vessel that has allowed you to have this experience called human life. Ground yourself, for it is from a place of deep grounding that we can safely and powerfully reach for the stars. You are a bridge between heaven and earth, and a bridge must be firmly anchored on both sides. As we draw this exploration to a close, it is important to place this strange, modern document back into its rightful context. The most remarkable thing about the Gateway Process Report is not that it is new, but that it is so very old. Stripped of its technical jargon, its discussion of physics and brainwaves, it is a rediscovery of the perennial philosophy, the timeless truths that have been taught by mystics and sages for thousands of years in every culture across the globe. What the document calls the Absolute, the ultimate source of all things, the Taoists call the Tao. The Hindu Upanishads call it Brahman. The Jewish mystics of Kabbalah call it Ein Sof. It is the unnameable, unmanifest potential from which all reality springs. What the document calls frequency and vibration. The yogic traditions of India have long called nada or shabda, the inner sound, the cosmic vibration that is the essence of creation. They understood that to meditate upon this inner sound was to tune oneself to the frequency of the divine. What the document describes as the holographic universe where the part contains the whole, is beautifully reflected in the ancient Buddhist metaphor of Indra's net. This is a vision of a cosmic net that stretches to infinity, and at every intersection of the net, there is a perfect, shining jewel. And if you look closely at any single jewel, you will see reflected in it every other jewel in the entire net. Each jewel contains all the others. This is a perfect, poetic description of a holographic reality. We have a tendency in our modern age to believe we are inventing and discovering everything for the first time. We think our science is revealing a new universe. In reality, our science is often just catching up to what our mystics have always known. We are developing a new language to describe an ancient landscape. We are drawing a new map for a territory that has been explored by human consciousness for millennia. The value of a document like this is not that it gives us new answers, but that it gives us new confidence in the old answers. It shows that even when the most logical, linear, and materialistic minds are tasked with exploring the deepest nature of reality, they arrive at the same conclusions as the ancient poets and saints. The path may be different. One uses binaural beats, the other uses silent meditation, but the destination is the same. The destination is the realization of our own boundless, eternal, and interconnected nature. So, let this be a comfort to you. You do not need a secret government program to walk this path. The keys have always been available. They are found in the stillness of your own breath. They are found in the wisdom of the ancient traditions. They are found in the quiet whispers of your own intuition. See the echoes of these truths everywhere, in science, in art, in nature, in religion. They are all fingers pointing to the same moon, all rivers flowing to the same ocean, and that ocean resides within you. So, where does this leave us? We have journeyed through the strange and sterile landscape of a government document, only to find ourselves standing at the shore of the same infinite ocean described by the mystics of old. What is the use of such a map? It is not meant to be a tool for controlling the universe or manifesting trivial desires. Its true purpose is far more profound. It is to offer you a new way of looking at your own life, your own power, and your own identity. The invitation here is not to some complex practice, but to a simple, gentle shift in your awareness. You don't need to master astral projection or red minds. The true work is much closer to home. It begins with becoming the quiet observer of your own inner world. Simply notice, without judgment, the thoughts and feelings that move through you. These are your frequencies. You don't have to fight the ones you don't like. Just noticing them is the first step. Then, gently, you can begin to choose your resonance. When you feel the heavy vibration of fear or anger, acknowledge it. Let it be there. And then, introduce a new note. Bring to mind one thing you are grateful for. Feel the memory of a moment of pure joy. Take a single deep breath and feel the life within you. This is not about spiritual warfare. It is about gentle tuning. You are learning to be the conductor of your own inner orchestra, and your instrument is your loving attention. This is a path of remembering, not of knowing. All the information in this conversation is useless if it remains just information in your head. Its only value is in awakening a feeling, a memory deep within your soul, the memory of your true nature. This truth is not found in words. but in the stillness between them. It is felt, not learned, and you must know, as you walk this path, that you are not alone in your feelings or your questions. The very fact that you are here, that you have listened with an open heart, means you are part of a great, silent conversation that spans across ages. Every soul that has ever looked up at the night sky and wondered, "What is this? Who am I?" is walking beside you. Your inner truth, those quiet whispers and subtle feelings that the world may have told you to ignore, is profoundly important. It is your own personal compass, your unique guide on this journey home. Trust it, honor it, for it will never lead you astray. And even when the path feels difficult, even when you are filled with doubt or confusion, know that this too is part of the process. It is the shedding of old skins, the unlearning of a lifetime of limitation. To be lost for a time is often necessary to find a deeper truth. So let this conversation be a quiet encouragement. And when all these words have faded, may you be left with a single, gentle question that stays with you. Who is the one inside of you that has been listening?